Aloha and welcome to the Fall 2017 edition of UHMTV. I'm Nicole Tam.
And I'm Kaino Fernandez. Thanks for joining us.
Coming up over the next half hour, we'll look at how Hawaii's medical cannabis industry still struggles with setbacks.
And how rat lungworm disease has affected one young family. Plus, see how overfishing is affecting Hawaii's reef fish population.
This year alone, the Department of Health confirmed 17 people were diagnosed with rat lungworm disease, including then 11-month-old Kane Ta'anu'u on the Big Island. Santini Ta'anu'u thinks her son Kane contracted rat lungworm disease by eating a slug or snail in their backyard. He had a fever, diarrhea, and wasn't eating. Initially, doctors thought he had pneumonia or the flu.
When they told me it was rat lung, I just started to cry because at that point, I know my son was sick for a while and I didn't know if he was gonna make it or not.
Slugs and snails thrive in all the wet weather on the Big Island, attracting parasites from rat feces that cause the disease. It's a form of meningitis that affects the brain. Symptoms include fever, headaches, and a tingling sensation of the skin. It's also transmitted by eating raw fruits and vegetables. If you're going to eat your produce raw, experts suggest washing and rubbing all fruits and vegetables thoroughly under running water. Many farmers take extra steps to ensure food safety.
Most farmers that I know take precautions. Myself, I have a cat that hunts to reduce the rat population. I put out an organic product, an iron phosphate, to kill slugs.
And for good reason. 60 cases were reported between 2007 and 2016.
Cures are great. The one thing that we would really like to have is, again, the best evidence-driven material out there.
The CDC says there is no specific treatment to cure rat lungworm disease. Kane's treatment for now is mostly steroids. Mom says he's making progress and doctors believe he will make a full recovery.
Are there long-term effects of getting rat lungworm disease?
Yes, experts tell me it depends on the amount of parasite a person originally intakes to determine if some effects will actually be permanent.
Thanks, Nicole. Medical marijuana is now legal in Hawaii. But as Bronson Dory explains, the federal government makes the process a little hazy.
The federal government prohibits doctors from prescribing cannabis or marijuana to patients. Doctors can only write a recommendation for medical cannabis, which is different than a prescription.
We have to be hands-off about it. If we help them obtain their medicine, we could be charged with aiding and abetting in the sale of a Schedule I controlled substance.
With more states passing medical cannabis laws and broader recreational laws, the federal government still regards marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same category as heroin. Medical cannabis states must create their own laws and regulations, leaving recognized conditions and other laws varying from state to state.
An out-of-state student at Manoa lost a recommended treatment for his Tourette syndrome. In his home state of Washington, his condition is recognized. However, that's not the case here in Hawaii. To continue his legal treatment, the student must apply for a new card with an alternative condition.
I've just seen the doctor and I'm awaiting the state of Hawaii to approve the card. Oh, it's definitely inconvenient. I don't know, there's bigger things at stake, I guess.
The state of Hawaii lacks several conditions legally recognized by other states. However, Hawaii is making progress. Since June, epilepsy, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, and lupus are now acceptable conditions.
It is difficult for patients to get what they need. We don't have edibles, we don't have capsules, we don't have the tinctures. It's not allowed by law right now. So soon enough, we will, but we have a long way to go.
Bronson, what are the consequences when someone is charged with a Schedule I felony?
Well, if someone gets convicted for possession, they could go to jail up to 3 years or pay a fine up to $5,000. But what's interesting is, it is illegal for patients to travel inter-island with their medication due to conflicting state and federal laws.
All right, thanks, Bronson.
Hawaii's reef fish are declining. I found out which fish and what experts say is causing it.
It's been several hundred years of kind of chronic overfishing, degradation of habitat, poor water quality. These things, they don't happen overnight.
In one of the most extensive studies done on reef fish in Hawaii, Dr. Alan Friedlander, Chief Scientist at National Geographic's Pristine Seas and Director of Fisheries Ecology at the University of Hawaii, says people are the greatest threat to fish populations.
In places where there are lots of people, basically around the entire island of Oahu, around substantial parts of Maui, that people are having a pretty significant and negative impact on the reef fish populations, and primarily the fish that people are interested in eating.
Some of these fish include ulua, or thick-lipped trevally, kumu, or white saddle goatfish, uhu, or parrotfish, and kala, the unicorn fish.
I've been fishing over 50 years, and there's a lot of changes.
Dr. Friedlander hopes this data will serve as a wake-up call to the people of Hawaii that now is the time to act.
Hawaii is unique in the sense that about a quarter of all the species found in the ocean are found nowhere else on Earth. Most people would say, well, why should we care about that? Well, why should we care? Because if we overfish those species, if they're lost forever. And so, we need to recognize that. And as the health of the ocean goes, so goes the health of the people in the state of Hawaii.
What's being done about overfishing?
Well, the state created marine protected areas. The most recent and largest surrounds the northwestern Hawaiian Islands.
All right, thanks for that. When we come back, we'll take a look at what's called the silent teachers at the UH Medical School.
Plus, the university wants more foreign students. We'll tell you why when UHMTV returns.
Hawaii is home to one of the best universities in the world, the University of Hawaii at Manoa. Consistently ranked in the top 5% among national and international universities, affordable with resident tuition more than $4,000 below the national average, 200-plus degree programs to choose from. Get a world-class education and experience. The University of Hawaii at Manoa.
Welcome back to UHMTV. There are a few DACA, or Deferred Action of Child Arrival students at UH Manoa.
But, as Chanel Diaz explains, the university is working to keep the UH Dreamers in the state.
The University of Hawaii at Manoa is currently home to 4 DACA students, whose identities are protected by the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, or FERPA. Without the proper law enforcement on campus, the school would not be able to protect their UH Dreamers should the federal government come for them.
Our commitment is clear to all of our students, whether they're DACA students, international students, students from the continent, or our students from here in Hawaii, in regards to that we value each and every one of them the same.
Together, UH Manoa and several other campuses form the System-Wide Immigrant Status Task Force, a group that will be meeting with the Board of Regents to discuss changing DACA's policy for all of Hawaii's campuses, as well as present innovating ideas to make it happen.
Originally, my office was one of the first offices to address the DACA issue, and so we became kind of the mouthpiece for the university in terms of advertising its policy. We were asked by last year to actually form a group and to address the changing policy. Now, the policy, of course, is going to phase out, and so the problem is, what happens to students who are in DACA as well as any potential new students.
The System-Wide Immigrant Status Task Force has made their mission clear, that they would protect the UH Dreamers.
But we would like to at least, address the idea that we would protect students up to the time when a federal warrant is, issued for their, either arrest or some sort of, identification, that they're safe with us, on campus.
From UHMTV, Chanel Diaz.
While Hawaii is one of the top tourist destinations, Teresa Ron found out why the same can't be said about international students.
A state report reveals that the international students studying Hawaii spent about $225 million during the last school year, a 25% drop compared to the year before.
It definitely hurts the Hawaii in general. because of our economy. Tourist industry, the visitor industry is our #1 economy. From the university standpoint, it affects not only our university's revenue generation, but it also affects the international students' global impact when they're in the classroom.
The decline reflects a nationwide trend of fewer international students applying to study in the United States. The University of Hawaii also sees decrease in foreign student enrollment for the past few years.
Total right now for the last year, we've had about 1,200 international students. There has been a decline for the past 2 years, but I think this upcoming year or this current fall 2017 semester, it's either going to be flat or maybe a little bit higher.
Here's everything is expensive in Hawaii.
Chihiro Matsukawa has been studying in Hawaii for over 5 years. She would have to spend nearly $60,000 a year to cover her tuition and living expenses.
People are going to somewhere else, like for example, Australia, New Zealand, or Canada. It's easier to get a visa. And then also in the US, we can work off campus.
Officials also say the decline is a result of the increased tuition, as well as economic factors and increased marketing by other destinations.
Well, less international students may be coming to the U.S., maybe because other countries are aggressively looking for international students. I know that Canada and New Zealand and Australia are aggressively looking for international students. That's where maybe a lot of the international students are going rather than the U.S.
Teresa, is UH doing anything to attract more international students?
Actually, the university added more scholarships for international students, and they hire a recruiter who is living in China to hopefully get more students to attend our university.
All right, thanks, Teresa. Well, students at the John A. Burns School of Medicine are getting a hands-on anatomy lesson with real bodies, as Harrison Patino explains.
You know, it gives the family, a last chance to say their goodbyes to their loved ones.
It's called the Willed Body Program, and it's giving students at the John A. Burns School of Medicine a hands-on anatomy lesson with real bodies.
When we're talking about the medical students, they're approaching their cadaver, their mentor, as their first patient. What we want to foster is when they come into the lab that these donors are not just anonymous donors. These are their first patients. These are their mentors. These are their teachers.
The program culminates in an end-of-the-year burial at sea ceremony where students, faculty, and family mourn and celebrate the deceased. For students like Daniel Miyamoto, studying through the Willed Body program allows him to reflect on the lives of his silent teachers before they were a part of his curriculum.
It always really sinks in once, especially at the beginning of the year. We like to call them our teachers, our silent teachers. Whenever we have a new one, we always just take a moment, appreciate what they've done for us.
And for some, the experience is a tender reminder of life's value.
I don't think it's a consolation at all. I think it's something of value.
In Fred Dower's eyes, his wife's self-donation to the program shortly before her passing is a way to reflect and look back on a life well lived.
I think it's something we probably could give more attention to because of the legacy that these people leave. One of my expressions is that tears is just the currency of validation. It gives it value. So I'm the luckiest guy in the world.
Harrison Patino, UHMTV.
How does the program get these bodies in the first place?
I asked Dr. LaBroche that same question, and he says that over 90% of the program's cadavers are donated by the silent teachers while they're still alive.
Thanks, Harrison. When we come back, we'll sit down with David Matlin, UH Athletic Director.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to UHMTV. Recently, we had the opportunity to interview UH Athletic Director David Matlin.
Our own Brandon Rivera had a chance to speak with this proud UH alum.
Welcome back to UHMTV. We're happy to have Athletic Director and UH alum David Matlin in studio. Aloha, David.
Aloha, Brandon.
So you've been Athletic Director for about 2 years here at the university. How's your time been?
It's been interesting. It's been interesting. It's actually it's about 2.5 years. And it's been a pretty amazing journey. It's part of it is what I expected, and then there's been so much more. But it's a great opportunity and a great challenge at the same time.
You've gone from, working with Major League Baseball to ESPN to Broadway shows and finally here at the university. How does a man go from job to job to job in, positions like this and finally end up here?
The key thing is I've been very blessed to have a lot of great mentors in my life. My mentor there was Ted Harris, who was the Vice President of Business. Then one day all of a sudden your wife, who's a local girl, decides she wants to move home. So we moved here and I kind of had to reinvent myself all over again. You mentioned ESPN. That was a great 14-year experience. Had another mentor there called Pete Durzis, who's overall college sports and other events. So that was an incredible opportunity to learn and to grow and really to even run my own business at the same time.
And out of all those jobs, do you have any standout experiences that you kind of accredit to leading you to where you are today as athletic director?
The best job that I think helped me in this job, or even in life in general, was my first job at the University of Hawaii. I worked in the ticket office. My job was to computerize a ticketing system that was a manual system, and if you ask me what I knew about computerized ticketing systems, nothing. I just said I could do it. But what I learned there, I worked for Edith Tanita, who is since retired, kind of a firm older lady but with a big heart. What I learned there is, first of all, I got pretty humbled. When I was in Houston, I had 3 different jobs. I got promoted pretty rapidly. Things seemed like they came a little easy. Here it didn't happen that way. So I got humbled. I met a lot of people, and the best part of it is I was actually able to get my master's from the Scheidler College, which helped me to meet different people and pick up newer skill sets, for the 90s at the time, which are probably archaic at this point.
You mentioned your time at Scheidler. How did that experience at UH, or how would you describe your experience at UH when compared to the University of Michigan?
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm a proud Michigan alum and I'm a proud Scheidler University of Hawaii alum. For me, the University of Hawaii at Manoa was more impactful to me, getting my master's in business there. A lot of it was because the people I met. I mean, I went to school, I went to night school because I was working. And I met a lot of business leaders in the community. And also, I was new in the community. I just needed to make friends. And I was able to do that. I still keep in touch with many of my classmates. The courses that I was offered, like I took a lot of courses in IT at the time. The World Wide Web was just becoming commercial at that point. So I remember making a web page of my daughter in 1995 as one of my projects. But the impact of my Scheidler education, and I was there before it was the Scheidler School, so that was a while ago, has really, I know I wouldn't be in this position without them.
So, as a UH alum, do you have any advice for students?
Well, my advice is to find out what you're passionate about and pursue that as a vocation. So many people worry about how they're going to monetize what their passion is or what their job is going to do. They're worried about the money. I believe that if you're passionate about something and you become excellent in it, that will take care of itself.
Kind of taking a step back, you mentioned some of the challenges that you had as athletic director, specifically attendance at football games. Can you talk a little bit about how the athletic department and you in particular are working towards a remedy to the attendance issue?
What you do is you focus on what you can control. You try new things. Some of them work, some of them don't work. We've tried some new things with students by having concerts. Actually, we've had some success. We had a few thousand there, probably 1,500 about 2 games ago. It was successful. We tried something else. I forgot what it even was that didn't work. But if we're going to fail, we're going to fail doing new things, and we're going to learn from it.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with us today. We wish you the best and the best for the athletic department.
Thank you, Brandon.
I didn't know he worked for ESPN.
That's pretty cool, huh? Thanks, Brandon. Still to come on UHMTV, we're taking a trip to East Oahu to see what's blooming.
Don't go away.
I chose UH Manoa's College of Social Sciences because it inspires me to be bold and unafraid, to stand out, speak up, defend, and question.
It's about being in my element, being engaged, and being part of something great.
At the College of Social Sciences, we empower students to explore their interests, discover what they excel in, and learn how to apply their knowledge outside the classroom. Visit us today and learn more about us, because life is not one-dimensional and your college degree shouldn't be.
Welcome back to UHMTV.
Things are looking up for the UH Warriors, as Brandon Rivera reports.
According to the University of Hawaii's athletic department, the last time the Rainbow Warriors sold out a game was 2007. That team hoisted a 13-game winning streak, played in the Sugar Bowl, and filled every seat in Aloha Stadium during their final 2 home games. Since then, attendance numbers have drastically declined. The average attendance for the 2016 season was 24,521, less than half of the stadium's maximum capacity of 50,000. In 2015, student attendance hit an all-time low, with just 781 students attending each game. There are 5,000 seats in the student section. The Bows had a record of 10 wins and 36 losses under former head coach Norm Chow, and some fans attribute the low attendance to those seasons.
What's bad, I think, is that when the team's doing good, everyone comes. We don't see it that way, right? We don't see it that way.
We just come anyway.
Students, on the other hand, haven't seen it that way, but efforts are being made this season to turn things around.
Second-year head coach Nick Rolovich is motivated to change the student culture surrounding University of Hawaii football games, and he's starting with the school's fraternities.
Sinjin Fukuichi, president of the fraternity Tau Kappa Epsilon, explained that Rolovich contacted his frat about a month before the start of the season.
He knew people came to the tailgate, but people wouldn't go inside, so that was pretty much what we needed to get them inside. He was trying to help us figure that out as far as getting more attendance.
Rolovich and fraternity representatives worked towards a middle ground and ultimately came up with a few ideas.
There were a few accommodations that he was willing to give us as far as more bathrooms, less security. One of the deals we made, we were going to bring water stations for people so they could stay hydrated enough to actually make it into the game afterwards and stuff like that, or whether it be free tickets to some of the brothers that don't exactly have student IDs anymore, just alumni could go to the game too.
Fukuichi thinks that the accommodations have helped to bolster student attendance, and the numbers don't lie. In both of the Rainbow Warriors' home games at Aloha Stadium so far this season, the average total attendance has been 25,580, and the 1,600 students who showed up to both games definitely played a part. Win or lose, UH Athletics hopes to build the continuing support of students at all athletic events. For UHMTV, I'm Brandon Rivera.
Actually, I haven't been to a football game yet.
I went to the homecoming game. It was really fun. You should definitely check it out.
All right, I'll see you there. Well, sunflower fields at Waimanalo Country Farms welcome thousands of people every year.
Kristen Wong sees how one family-owned farm is feeding into the trend for both locals and tourists.
During the winter season, Hawaii farmers have been planting sunflowers across the island, attracting locals and tourists alike. This year, Waimanalo Country Farms, a family-owned company since 1948, is experimenting with the idea of opening these fields up to the public all year round.
Sunflowers can be planted all year, just depends on the weather. So our thing is, okay, we're gonna try and plant it, and if it rains too much, then it's gone. If the birds come, then it's gone. If people come up and cut them, then it's gone. You know, it's just, everything is, there's so many variables. So March was our test run, it was good. July was good, now October. So now we're gonna try and plant more often so that we have it all year.
According to the National Agricultural Statistics Services, the seed industry is one of the fastest growing sectors in Hawaii's agriculture. This season, it's worth an estimate of $145 million after shipping out around 6.1 million pounds of seeds just last year.
It's nice that we can open to the public because, yeah, it brings people, and that does help with business, but at the same time, like, this is our home as well. So we've been having problems with people trespassing after hours, and we're like, this is like, you know, as a family, we talk about, okay, well, do we want to open? Because everything is family here, family run. That's why we're so like, please don't trespass, because this is our home. It's not just a farm. You know, and I guess people don't really understand that.
While the recent trespassers have not caused any harm, the family hopes that by opening up more often, it'll decrease the chances of it happening again. For UHMTV, I'm Kristen Wong.
Kristen, how do they keep the sunflowers alive all year long?
Actually, Kainoa, even though the sunflower fields only last for about 2 weeks, the farm is able to save the seeds and replant them for the next crop.
Wow, that's really cool.
Actually, I visit the field every year to take some photos for the gram.
Really? I definitely gotta check it out. Thanks, Kristen. And thank you guys for watching UHMTV.
Until next time, from all of us here at UHMTV, aloha and a hui ho.